What is going on, chat? Happy Thursday, BTL episode 151 piece with your guy Krabs and Jovan. How we feeling on this Thursday?
Feeling good. Ready to get
Good.
after it.
I mean, what a game last night from your Horned Frogs. Is this the Horned Frogs year?
It just might be, yeah.
I think every student should go buy a freaking lotto ticket. I think it's your year. I do. I'm jealous. I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
Awesome.
Hey, they wrote you off and you didn't write back though.
Yeah. I mean, shout
Right?
out them. I didn't care for the look pregame. I was a little scared of that line, but
The line was weird. Weird.
Yeah, and the more I thought about it, not that it wasn't weird, but I also I guess I have to remember looking at the Northwestern State loss, that's gonna screw up a lot of metrics for them like the rest of the year, which is what the lines are calculated on. So
Is that a Q4 loss?
probably. I mean, maybe they're climbing a little bit. I haven't looked, but we'll see.
I don't know. I don't think Northwestern State stock is getting any higher, unfortunately.
It might.
Maybe it will. Who knows?
It might.
Who knows? Damian Sharp's really good, right?
Yeah.
But great game from TCU. Holy smokes, they came back, and good live cheese too at halftime. Hey, sometimes lines are sketch and shit still doesn't hit. You know, Baylor line was sketch, shit didn't hit. I think with a lot of these, programs like Kentucky and Baylor, a lot of these schools are just so overvalued by name and just by, recent success. So seeing, Kentucky laying 10.5 the other night and not covering, although they're a little weird because they literally can't finish games ever. They haven't finished games for the last couple of years. But my point here being Baylor had no business being -6 there. I mean, if you watch that game, which I know you did, I mean, TCU wore them out. That was you guys played chess and not checkers, where you wore them out. You ran them around the courts fast, up tempo, a lot of the game. And by, 30 minutes into the game, going into the last home stretch, Baylor had no juice left. None.
Yeah. I mean,
and it was just TCU being so athletic and just better.
And TCU didn't play like particularly bad in that first half where they were getting ran. It was just Keontae George was 5 of 5 from 3 in the first half. They're shooting 70% from the field in 3, which is, I mean, that's why I went with the live bet on it, because TCU is playing great. It's just they couldn't beat a team that was shooting that well in the first half. That wasn't going to stay the case for the whole game. But yeah.
Yeah, our guy CLD Hearted in chat saying, what do I think about Edey's 14 points and 10 rebounds? Well, I will say that a team tried something that worked against Purdue for the first time. And that was hack the shit out of Edey, attack the shit out of Edey, double team them, triple team them, quad team them, make the rest of the team beat them, and leave it up to them. Are they going to put ball in hoop? Are they going to make their threes? They didn't. They lost. No way they lose 2 in a row, though, right? No chance.
No shot.
No chance. Shout out Providence last night for literally being the best team ever, the greatest team ever, the greatest covering team maybe in college basketball history. They are, lines don't matter for them. Should just take them on the ML whenever they're a dog every game and lay the spread when they're the favorite every game. And you're going to be up coin.
Yeah. Exactly.
Simple as that. Really pisses me off. But they did it. They did it again. They did it again at UConn. This is the time of the year where you see a lot of teams hit their peak. Then they go into conference play. You play a couple tough back-to-back games, maybe a road game or 2. Next thing you know, you're losing 2 or 3 games in a row, and people are saying you're not the best team in the country with UConn, right? This is what happens around this time of year. Teams come down to earth a little bit. Everything averages out a little bit. The teams that are good start to play well, right? TCU's won, 13 games in a row? Or is it 8? Am I tripping?
Not in a row. Not in a row. I think it's probably closer.
I think they've won something like that. I mean, they're heating up. They're the team that they were, supposed to be preseason. I don't know if there's many teams that are going to beat them this year, straight up. And we'll get to that, guys. We're going to do conference talk. We're going to talk about Illinois. We're going to talk about the ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and Big East. A little conference talk here before we get into the college basketball card for the second half. All right. We're going to have our guy Capwise Nick, who's been sharp as heck in CBB, coming on here for the second half to talk games. But first, I want to talk about some of these conferences. All right. I think we hop right in to the best conference in college basketball, the ACC. Why not?
It's cap.
Yeah, not this year. Not this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Historically, though, yes. But this year, it's like a freaking war zone out there in the ACC. There's not one team. Not one team. There's like 8 okay teams and a couple meh teams. And I'm very curious, and I really have no fucking idea who's going to win. And yeah, VT is cookie caked. No, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. All right. Well, why don't you start us off? What do you got in the ACC for a sleeper pick to win the conference?
Yeah, and I mean, I know they're top of the conference right now, but I'm going to say Clemson just because they're the team that nobody's really paying attention to right now. And the best part about them, other than the fact that they're talented and they're stringing wins like they did last night, their schedule lines up really, really nice for them. And they don't have any multiple games against any of those ranked teams. They have Duke and they have Miami, which Duke's another question because Duke is obviously not doing Duke things right now, but they see Duke and Miami once each, and they're both at home. They do have to go on the road at Virginia later in the season, but schedule sets up nice for a team that's playing really good right now and can string together some wins and be at the top of this conference. So it'd be a sleeper pick for any sort of value play on them.
Okay. What about conference winner? Who do you think is just taking the cake? Who's the best team? Who's winning the conference?
I think if I had to just take the best team right now, I'd still say it's Miami because they slipped up. Shout out, good POD last night. They're just by far, I think, the most talented team in that conference right now. So if I had to pick the best team right now, the one I'll be most scared to play throughout the rest of the season, it's the Hurricanes.
Okay. They definitely have the most talent.
Yeah.
They definitely do. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but definitely helps.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're well coached. I mean, Larinaga a goat, right? He'll get those boys. He'll get those boys right.
He will.
I mean, they lost one game. They're fine. I thought they were going to be this year's Providence, but they did fall last night. Shout out Georgia Tech. Shout out the POD 5 in a row. How about it?
How about it? Don't let them get hot.
Don't let the PODs get hot.
Yeah.
Don't let them. All right. Best player in the conference in the ACC. Who you got?
Until proven otherwise, it's Baycott because he's still put up the consistent numbers to be that best guy in the conference. But I will say there are certain times in the game where I look at him and I'm not exactly like seeing him as the guy that's just going to take over the game and win the game, which a lot of that, I guess, has to do with the supporting cast around him and how they can force him to not be the guy. But whatever it is, he's still putting up numbers. He's still playing dominant. So I'd still take him over anybody right now. But there's a couple guys in that conference that are certainly making a run.
Yeah, I got another guy, but we'll get to him. I want you to rip through these. Who do you think is the biggest fraud in the ACC? And I know we didn't talk about it before, but if you want to put, a player, if you want to put a coach, if you want to put whatever, you can. But I'm assuming you probably have mostly teams. Who's the biggest fraud in the ACC?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm going to go with the Hokies.
That's disrespect.
I hate to say it, but
wow.
There's just something with this team that is just not. It's not just that they're not playing well.
Man.
Not that just they're not getting wins. It's just I don't see this team meshing right now in the way they need to. I don't think the personnel is putting out the results that they need them to get and showing on the court. I think they'll be, talent wise, they're there. I love what they're doing, but their backcourt's a little inconsistent. I don't see anybody else really pumping out the results to kind of account for that. And I know they've had some injury issues, whatever it may be, but I'm not in on the Hokies right now.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, we've lost 3 games in a row, 3 games we should have won. So yeah. I don't blame you. But just know that Mike Young is a great coach, and once these guys are healthy, we're going to make a run. And I would not be shocked if we win the ACC this year, just like we did last year. Okay, we were predicted to finish last in the ACC last season. We won the ACC. Nobody believes in us. Our team is stacked. They're hurt. They're playing like shit. I will say, Kebe Aluma not being on the team anymore, it's been really bad.
That hurts.
It's been really bad because that guy was not only our big man. I guess you could call him our big man. I mean, he was, but he's like a 4 on every other team. He was also kind of like our point guard. Where he would run point at the top of the key. He was a fucking great passer. He was awesome. We're missing him. My guy, Grant Basile, who I 100% believe in, and I know he's got it in him. Got off to a great start. Slowing down a little bit. Yeah, he's looking a little nerve, right? He's never played in the ACC yet, but I believe in him. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He'll be all right. All right, these boys will be playing fine in a week or two. And look, they need their leader back, Couture. I mean, it's been night and day since he's left. 3 games ago, halfway through the game, the team has looked like a different team. Hate to say it, and you could talk about Couture's actual like play and ability and how good he is, and should he be out there skill wise? That's tough. But I mean, he's the leader of the team, and it's night and day since he's been gone. So we need him back, and we need Ronnie Rice. But that one hurt my soul to hear you say that. I may or may not have picked TCU to win the Big 12. I might have to change that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Change that.
Fair enough.
All right, let me rip through these. Sleeper pick to win the conference, VT. How about it? Nobody believes in us coming off of 3 losses. This team doesn't have size, but in a year where the ACC is down and the only big man I'm really worried about is Bakat, and we've already beaten him, and we beat him every single time. We own UNC. I'm not worried. And yes, we've lost a couple bad games in a row, I know. But I believe in Mike Young. I believe in the culture. I believe in the program, and I believe in these veterans. And VT, come ACC tournament time, we will be in the top third of the conference, and we will make a run. All right, I'll leave it at that. Conference winner, as of right now, like I said, in a year where the ACC blows, I want to take the best coach team. I want to take a team that's got veterans on them, and I want to take UVA. I hate Kihei Clark. I hate UVA, but just looking at these standings, man, it really is anyone's game. It's a fucking coin flip, but I want Tony Bennett. I want UVA. I want that defense. I think that they clamp up. I think they win the whole thing. Maybe Duke, but that's what I got. I got UVA winning the conference this year. All right. Best player in the conference, I got Tyree Appleby. This kid looks like an absolute stud. He looks like the next NBA wizard from guard. This kid can hit threes. He's third in the ACC points per game, second in the ACC in assists per game. He's awesome, and he hits big shots and big moments, and that's huge. And I could already see this kid hitting threes in the NBA next year. So, give me Tyree Appleby. He's a dog. All right. Biggest fraud, UNC. Don't even need to really talk about that. We talk about that every week. Biggest overperformer, Clemson. Going 4-0 in the ACC for the first time since Nam. PJ Hall is really good. They're a well-coached team. Don't let Clemson get hot. They don't really have anything special or shiny or cool, but PJ Hall is a very good anchor of that team, and they keep winning games, plain and simple. So by far the biggest overperformer, not a hot take. They're in first right now, and nobody expected that, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I got in the ACC. Why don't we keep moving and keep grooving, and why don't we go to the SEC? You want to take us there?
Yeah, King Fraud Conference. A lot of these teams. But I'd say the pretty clear sleeper pick that you'd have to win this right now is Mizzou. And I'm not fully in on this Mizzou team, but if you're talking betting, you're talking for value right now. This Missouri team can score with pretty much anybody. They're talented across the board. I think they're talking about, I guess, future betting for these lines. I don't think they're going to quite be getting the respect that a lot of these teams, or at least us, like I guess, expect them to get. So they're going to have a chance to get them at big dogs for a lot of these games, and they're playing well right now. They're well coached. So they're a team I'd be looking out for. The winner that I have right now would be Bama, because they are just, again, the most complete team, I think, right now in that conference. It's not a hot take, because I think they're the best team top to bottom. Because you look at those teams, it's Tennessee, who really can't score. They go on 15-minute scoring droughts every other game. It's Auburn, who, spoiler alert, that's my biggest fraud in the conference. We talked about that time and time again. I'm upset that I couldn't get myself to bet it yesterday because it was super public. But what do they do? What do? They go on the road and they lose because they can't win unless they're at home. So we got sleeper Mizzou, winner Bama, Auburn frauds. Best player until proven otherwise is Oscar Tshiebwe, but making a quick case for Brandon Miller, because that guy's been absolutely unreal for Alabama. But Tshiebwe is so dominant. I wish that he was on a better Kentucky team. So that's what I got for the SEC.
Okay. I'll go ahead and take the Brandon Miller honors for you for best player in the conference. This kid's a freshman, and he's the best player in the conference already, in my opinion. I know Tshiebwe is a menace on the boards. Haven't seen a guy rebound like that in a while. Dude's got freaking magnets in his hands. But Brandon Miller is a dog, and he's also fourth in the conference in rebounding, which is impressive for his size. And he's first in the conference in points per game and 19 points per game. He's been relatively consistent, which as a freshman is huge. And if you just watch him play, he should be in the NBA already. He should. He could be starting in the NBA right now. You watch a lot of these guards. You watch a lot of these, bigger forwards or smaller forwards. in college a lot. And it's like, why is this guy not already in the league? Brandon Miller's that guy. He could be playing in the NBA right now getting 10 points. He's incredible. And this Alabama team is incredible too. Sleeper pick to win the conference. I've got LSU. And I don't really know if they're even a sleeper at this point anymore, Jovan. But, I mean, I don't think anyone expected them to be this nice with them pretty much being just a mid-major team coming over. It's worked out incredibly. And, you know, they still have their guy, Johnson, right? He's a stud. But LSU has been overperforming, and I've been extremely impressed. And I think they could win the damn thing. I'm done doubting them. I'm done fading them. They keep winning. They're 12-2. If you would have told me that LSU this year was 12-2 in CBB, I'd probably laugh at you and say no fucking chance. They're going to be 6-6. They're rebuilding, right? Yeah. Shout out their coach and shout out their program, honestly, for maybe the quickest rebuild ever if they keep winning games. I think they're a sleeper. Conference winner, I'm going with Arkansas. What I saw out of that team last night, must bus to be able to rally the troops at halftime when they're down like 20 points and come back. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but not only did they come back, I mean, they look like a freaking NBA team out there in the second half. They were incredible. When they're playing their best, nobody can beat them. And they didn't even have their best player out there, really, Nick Smith. So, all right, I've got Arkansas. They're about to get hot and run the table. Also, shout out Ricky Council for an absolute legacy game last night. He was awesome. Biggest fraud, Kentucky. Biggest overperformer, I've got Georgia. They keep fucking winning. There's no reason for this program not to be good. A school like Georgia should be good at every sport. Maybe times are changing. They keep winning. They won outright again last night. Unbelievable. Maybe the biggest overperformer in any team in any of these conferences we're talking about today. Not even just the SEC.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. Why don't we head to the Big Ten?
Yeah, Big Ten. I guess Another conference that might be full of a couple frauds, at least in the middle. Sleeper, I can honestly go with a couple different teams here because I think there's a couple teams that have started out conference play well that not quite getting talked about. I mean, I'll go with Michigan. You go with a couple different teams because they're a team that, I mean, I myself have written off, but they're playing in a conference where I'm not particularly impressed by these teams. And if you're starting to get, Purdue coming back down to earth a little bit, I know Ohio State and Wisconsin are playing well right now, but I think they'll come back down to earth eventually. This Michigan team definitely has the talent and has the guns to run with anybody in that conference. And if they get hot, get a couple wins, their schedule's not horrendous, so they'll have the chances. So, I mean, they're sitting at 3-0 in conference play right now, second in the conference. It's going to be a lot of teams getting beat up in the middle. I wouldn't be shocked to see them make a run to win the conference. So I'll go with them for a sleeper, even though they're not that much of a sleeper at the moment. The winner that I'll go with as of right now, I'm going to take the team that's at the top of the standings with Wisconsin because I think Purdue is starting to get exposed. I'm not going to completely buy into the fact that they're frauds, but schedule's a little tough. And Wisconsin has a lot of just a long stretch of games coming up here that are a lot of winnable games. They got a stretch of Illinois, Michigan State, tough game against Indiana, who I think is also a fraud, Penn State, Northwestern, all these teams that I think are performing decent other than Illinois, and they're going to start to come down to earth. And Wisconsin, they just figure out ways to win games. I don't know how Tyler Wall playing at the 4, sometimes even the 5 just works, but it does. I don't understand it. So right now I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with them to keep it right there. Best player in the conference until proven otherwise is also Zach Edey. But as we start to see him maybe become a little less matchup proof, that can change. But throughout the course of conference play, we'll see how it kind of evolves. And frauds, I'll go with Northwestern because they're a team, we've seen it in non-conference, they can't score. And I don't think a couple games against Illinois, who might be even bigger frauds in that conference, but they've just been terrible. And they were terrible in that Northwestern Ohio State game too. Their offense was. This team's doing well right now, but I'm not willing to buy in. I think they're going to go on a long little losing streak come sometime soon. And biggest overperformer, I think most of us can probably agree on, is Rutgers because they're just not the team. that can only win at the rack. They're seeming to put it together a little bit now. I know it's early, but defense has been there. They're starting to score. They're starting to play, I guess, more schematic defense, not just playing tough defense, which obviously helped them against Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're playing really well right now. They're not a team I'd want to play, and Purdue found that out. So that's what I got for the Big Ten.
Okay. Sleeper pick to win the conference. I've got Iowa, and it starts tonight. It starts tonight. Okay. Listen, this Iowa team, this is the floor. It has to be. It has to be. And we'll talk about the game tonight more later. But this Iowa team has really been going through some adversity, right? We saw McCaffrey just step away from the team. I don't know what's going on with that. Hope he's okay. But Chris Murray is activated. He's here. And that might be all this team fucking needs. Straight up. This team wins at home. This team hasn't won a conference game yet. I'm buying low on them. And I'm not giving up on them. I'm not. I think they're a sleeper pick. I really do. We saw what they did last year. They shoot the shit out of the ball. I would not be shocked to see them make some noise and make a run here if Chris Murray keeps dropping, 30 pieces a game. That's what I've got as a sleeper. Conference winner. I've got Purdue. Look, I know teams are starting to find ways to, make Zach Edey and make this Purdue team struggle a little bit offensively, but they still have a 7'6" menace who's the best player probably in college basketball. And I'm going to take that team to win the conference. I'm not a Wisconsin believer, to be completely honest with you. But they're absolutely tweaking. Yeah. Absolutely tweaking. But I like Purdue. I do. I think it's finally their year. And best player in the conference, obviously Zach Edey. Best player in the country, probably. It is what it is. I don't even care that he's coming off a bad game. He's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Biggest fraud? I've got Illinois. Were a favorite on the road again yesterday and lost. Or were they on the road last night? Or were they home?
That's a good question.
They were on the road last night and lost to Northwestern. Yep. I'm out on this Illinois team who got out to a little bit of a hot start, started gassing them up a little bit. They look atrocious. They're the biggest fraud and very, very disappointing. They had a lot of, they were getting gassed up. They brought in a whole new team of really, really good transfers, and it has not worked out really. Biggest overperformer, I'm going to go with Northwestern. When Pete Nance announced that he was leaving, I thought that program and team was dead. I did. And now look at them. Don't let them get hot. Don't let them. Seriously, don't. Yeah. They are balling. I don't even know how they're doing it or getting away with it, but they are. There's just teams like that in college basketball sometimes. Look at Providence. And they're the team this year. If you would have told me they'd be where they are right now in the standings or had this record, I'd probably say you're smoking crack. Plain and simple. But they're here. They're winning games. They had a great win last night again, and they continue to win. So maybe they're just for real. I don't know. I don't know how they keep doing it, but they're by far the biggest overperformer in this conference, in my opinion. All right.
It's fair.
Cool. What about Big 12? What do you got for this one? Very curious to hear your thoughts on this. This is your home conference.
Yeah, so I did this before last night's game, but obviously I had TCU as a sleeper to begin with, but I guess it's not really going to have to be the case anymore. They're so deep. I don't think I've really expected their fast break offense, which, spoiler alert, if you hadn't seen it, if you didn't watch the game last night, number one transition offense in college basketball, which is wild. It's absolutely insane, and that's going to be tough for any team to play. So they're my sleeper. Not that much of a sleeper. I think they woke a lot of people up last night, but my winner is still Kansas in this conference. I can't see a team beating them on a consistent basis after the way they've looked, and best player in the conference kind of goes along with that, Jalen Wilson, who's been absolutely unreal for that team.
Yep.
I had my doubts coming into the season about Jalen Wilson because he really had to be that guy with, Grady Dick, fantastic, but he's a young guy who can't really be the star for that team. And he's not, but he's a great piece around him, and Jalen Wilson has done unreal things. So as long as he's doing what he has been doing, which big if, but he's shown that he's more capable than previous years, Kansas is still pretty clearly the best team in this conference to me. Biggest frauds, West Virginia. This is a team that I don't think a lot of people are saying that they're this fantastic team, but they played well in non-conference, got some solid wins. And then as far as betting lines go, think you saw Vegas take a pretty big stance on what they think of West Virginia the first 2 conference games. They're underdogs playing Kansas State, who spoiler alert, that's my biggest overperformer too.
Yeah.
But West Virginia, underdogs to both them and then underdogs to Oklahoma State, lost both of those games. So I think they're going to come down to earth a little bit, which is not saying much in the Big 12, it's the best conference in college basketball, the deepest conference in college basketball.
This year it is, yep.
This year, absolutely. So I think they'll struggle a little bit. There's no free games in the Big 12, but they're probably one of the teams that's closer to it than some others. And like I said, Kansas State, biggest overperformer. They're, again, a team that I have some doubts about because we do this song and dance every year. But after watching some of their games, like they're offensively so different and they're so well coached. And I don't know anybody who thought that they were going to go to Texas and put up 116 or 113 or something points. That was absolutely ridiculous. So they're a completely different team than in years past. And I am really, really scared to play them. I think they can make some serious noise and not have the little fall off like they do every single year. They're a different team.
Okay. I mean, I agree with a lot of things you just said. I'll be honest with you. Also, wait till we get into March Madness. That's when the ACC thrives. That's when we will prove our dominance again. Okay. We do win games in March. That's a fact. But all right, sleeper pick, Big 12. I got Texas Tech. Again, buying low here on Texas Tech. Coming off that brutal loss the other night. We know that Texas Tech, we know that Lubbock is one of the toughest places to play in college basketball. And they're 0-2 in conference, right? Haven't won a game yet. But with that defense, kind of like what I'm expecting with UVA, I'd be surprised to see another team come in there and drop a 75-piece in conference like Kansas did. I mean, Kansas shot lights out in Lubbock the other night. And, hey, Texas Tech shot the shit out of the ball too. Yeah. They put up 72 points. For them, that's like 100. Seriously, I mean, O'Banner was cracked, right? And O'Banner is that guy. If they need somebody to step up, O'Banner's putting the team on his back, and he's getting some points. That guy is legit. He's awesome. He's been awesome for years. The rest of the team, not so much. But honestly, for how efficient and how well Kansas shot the ball and played in that game, for Texas Tech with how average their offense is, for them to only lose by 3 points and for both teams to put up 70 points, honestly, that was a win for me for Texas Tech. So buying low on them. Don't let them get hot. Don't cut them out. All right. Still one of the best coach teams in the conference. And still the hardest place to play probably in college basketball. All right. Conference winner. I've got Arizona. Arizona might be the best team. Or sorry, I'm looking at Pac-12. I'm tripping. Conference winner. I've got TCU. Okay, I shouldn't even be saying this after the VT bullshit you pulled earlier. Yeah. But I've got TCU. I mean, if Arizona wins the Big 12, then they can have it because that's not even possible. TCU. All right. Lampkin, they've got the big guy, right? They got Damian Ball, Mike Miles, who, what do you have, like 30 points last night? He's a fucking dog.
33.
One of the most athletic, best conditions teams early on in the season that I've watched. Last night was a clinic. It was like they were running suicides, but they were playing basketball. And that's going to be a problem for a lot of teams. That's going to be a problem for more teams than not, right? So I don't see anybody beating this team. I think TCU is the most talented roster in this conference. Now, does that mean they're going to win it? I don't know. Jamie Dixon's your coach. We'll find out. But right now, I mean, they're firing on all cylinders, and I think they take it. I think they beat Kansas down the stretch. They're a better team. They are. Best player in the conference, I got Jalen Wilson. This kid is incredible, not just scoring the ball, but he does drop 21 points per game, which leads the conference. He has stepped up immensely after, hey, you weren't the only one doubting him, before the season. He has stepped up, and he's the guy for that team. And if they need somebody to get a bucket, it's him. He's awesome. Biggest fraud, I've got the Groves brothers. I'm with you on this, Jovan. I mean, they are ass, and so is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Unless they've got Trae Young lacing up his fucking shoes and coming out of that locker room, they're caked. They're bad. I'm so out on them. They're frauds. Biggest overperformer, Kansas State. Not going to spend an hour on that. You already touched on it. You already picked it. Not rocket science. Probably the easiest selection we've had so far. Kansas State.
Yeah.
You can't even let them get hot because they're already hot.
Yeah,
but don't let them get hot.
It's too late.
But don't let them. Okay. They're awesome, but they will be frauds come the end of the season. Just wait. But right now they're overperforming. You can't pick anyone else. You can't. So that's what I've got. All right. TCU, man. I guess it's just your fucking year, huh?
Yeah, it just might be.
Yeah.
It's a good little last year to go out on. It could be.
Yeah. Well, we'll see after Monday. Because TCU might be the most public dog I've ever seen.
Yeah, you can't pay attention to that, though. You can't do
Expected.
it.
I know. Everyone wants to root for him, wants him to win. I know.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But, TCU, man, you guys are looking good. Firing on all cylinders. What do you got for the Pac-12? Now we can talk about them.
Yeah, Pac-12. Again, this is I guess a couple of these games are pretty important coming up this week for them. So a lot of this could change. But as of now, I guess sleeper pick would be Arizona State, which I still think a lot of people are starting to get out on after they got blown out by San Francisco by 30-plus points, and then they went and lost another game right after that. Still think this team is very talented. It's a different team than we've seen in a couple of years. They're athletic, which is good because who are the main competition? It's Arizona, who's going to run with anybody. It's UCLA, who's going to defend better than anybody in that conference, really. So I still think they have the guns to kind of be at the top of that conference come the end of the year. But right now, I'm going to pick UCLA to win the conference. I think
Shocker.
Yeah, and I'm not the
you really
guy.
Went on a limb with that one.
Yeah, well, it's still. I think Arizona's the best team in that conference, but I'm going to go with UCLA to win. And I'm not the guy who comes in and is like UCLA is going to win every single year because they've been overhyped every year. I've actually been very anti-UCLA the last couple of years. And this year I'm with them because I think their defense is improving. I like the roster. I think it's a lot different with Jaquez being the main guy and then it's constructed very differently with the guards around him. So I think they're going to string together a lot of wins. I like their defense. It's going to keep improving, all that. Best player, it's Big Tubelis, the inside for Arizona. That guy is a matchup. That guy's a matchup problem for anybody.
He's a freak.
He's like Zach Edey, but more athletic. They bring him out on the wing a lot more. He can be that guy. I've literally seen them, which I guess this is very relevant to tonight because they play Washington. They play a zone against Arizona. What do? They put him in the middle. He can make the plays for that team.
Yeah, they're
crazy.
Fucked. It's no wonder why they're laying 20 tonight, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It's not going to work. He's just nobody can match up against him. It's nuts. He's the best player. He's averaging like 20 plus. He's so good.
He's almost like a knockoff Keve Aluma, you know?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. The biggest frauds, I'm gonna go Utah.
And damn.
Yeah, I like Utah.
No respect, huh?
Yeah, I think they're talented. Especially, I got a lot of respect for them after watching them that game at TCU. I think their defense is fine. I just don't think the shot making is there on a consistent basis. The defense is going to keep them in a lot of games, but they're not going to win a lot of games. And I respect them a lot for the performance against TCU. I respect them for the win against Arizona, which, to be real with you, I think that was a product of Arizona more than Utah themselves. But I'm just not in. There's a couple teams there that are hanging up there, like an Arizona State, like them, who are going to fall off towards the end of the year. I think Arizona State stays. I think Utah falls off a little bit. I don't see them coming to beat many more teams at the top. So that's what I got for the Pac.
Selling high on Utah, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sleeper pick to win the conference. Nice. After hearing that, I got Utah's. I do believe. You know who I believe in? I believe in Craig Smith, too. I like what he's doing over there. I do. He's got an older team, right? A lot of guys who look like me out there, a bunch of white dudes who just kind of stand around the arc. But I'll tell you right now, there's not a lot of guys who have more heart than Rollie Worcester, one of the best names in college basketball, one of the guards for Utah. This kid, his middle name is Hart. All right? And that's the kind of kid I want to have my money on down the stretch. Look, I know they've been overperforming. Nobody expected them to be this good, but they do have an older team. They do play good defense. And as of right now, they've been pretty damn good. They're second in the conference. Nobody expected that. So right now, they're my sleeper pick. Could they fall off and come back down to earth? Probably. but I really didn't have anybody else in this conference I liked. I'll be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Conference winner, Arizona. I'm in love with Arizona. I think this Arizona team, this might be the squarest thing that'll come out of my mouth for college basketball this year. I think Arizona runs the table, wins the whole thing. Don't care if they're a 1 seed. Don't care if they're whatever seed. Don't care if they're the number 1 overall seed by the end of the year. I don't see anybody stopping this team. I don't. They are awesome. They're awesome. You already mentioned your guy Tabolis, right? How about Bayo? They got Tabolis and Bayo, 2 incredible bigs. What other team can compete with that? None. Maybe Zach Edey cancels him out because he's literally a mega human. He's not even real. I guess.
And maybe TCU gets a rematch, runs him off the floor.
Maybe. Good luck, Lampkin. Holy fuck, man. Good luck. He's gonna have to have an absolute legacy performance.
Hey, well, you know he's gonna have to have a legacy performance. Them, because they're gonna be at half court while we're scoring on the fast break.
Yeah, because they're slow.
Yeah.
Okay. They're big and slow, but they like to play fast.
They do.
They have really good guards though. Courtney Ramey, I like. Chris Kerr. Is it Kirk Krisa or Chris Kerr? I don't even know. I think it's Kirk Krisa, but he's got Kerr on his jersey or some shit. I don't know. Either way, he's pretty fucking good. And that kid's mean. That kid is nasty. And he would piss me off if I was an opponent. And I like having a guy like that on my team in college basketball.
Oh, I know. We've already
straight up.
That tournament game where TCU is mortal enemies of Kirk Krisa already.
Yeah.
We know.
And you're probably not the only ones. He's a jerk.
Yeah.
But he's really good. I believe in this team. I think it's finally Arizona's year. I think they win the whole thing. I think they're the best team in the country right now. Best player in the conference. The square answer probably would have been Tabolis. I'll be honest. I'm going to go with Bayo. I think without him, this team is really, really hurting, and he's averaging 70 points a game, which is 3rd in the conference, which I honestly, when I was looking up stats and stuff, I was shocked to see that. Just his paint presence is incredible, and he's the best rebounder in the conference too. Him paired with Tabolis is it's unfair. It's a cheat code on that team, and I think he's the best player in the conference right now, straight up. Biggest fraud, I've got Stanford. We know they're not good. They were just overhyped and got way too much respect before the season. They suck.
Yeah, they're bad.
They stink. I don't know if you know, but in the Pac-12 standings, they are actually below Cal, who might be the worst team in D1. They are fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
And Stanford's below them, 0-4 in conference. So that team stinks, and they're overvalued. All right. Biggest overperformer, I've got Arizona State. I'm still trying to figure out how they've done it.
I know.
They can't keep getting away with it. We'll leave it at that. And they did a lot. They won a lot of their games without their best player too. So I don't know. Maybe they just have the horseshoe up their ass. Maybe they're the Providence this year. Who knows? But they've been overperforming like shit, and I did not expect this team to even have a winning record this year. I'll be completely honest with you. Didn't. That's what I got. All right. Don't let Arizona get hot. They might not lose a game the rest of the year.
Yeah, I don't know about that. They're my Auburn junior. I don't think they're going to lose. They're not going to lose as many games on the road. They're not frauds, but when they go on the road in tougher games, we're going to see shorter spreads, and I'm going to try.
Sure.
I'll be attacking.
Okay. Well, attack away. Good luck. All right. I hope I'm not on the other side in those games. All right. What do you got for the Big East?
Yeah, Big East. Sleeper pick, give me Marquette. So we have Providence at the top of the standings, at least. They look absolutely unbeatable. UConn's fell off a little bit. I guess people are sleeping on them. I think they're still going to be up there. Xavier looks incredible. I could probably say them too. But this Marquette team, who, again, this is kind of like the Pac-12 in the sense that this is going to be changing over the next week because they have 3 big games, and it's important because 2 of them are at home. They have UConn at home, then they go to the road, and Xavier, tough game. Then they come back and they play Providence at home, which how do you possibly have a chance of beating Providence as long as you're not playing them at home? So if they can pick up, God forbid, 2 of those wins in those big games, they're going to be set up really, really well. And it's not to say that they aren't lacking any talent, like Cam Jones, what he's done for that team. He's got like 15, 16 a game. He's been incredible. There's a team who just scratches out wins. They can score with anybody. They can kick up the defense when they're playing in a game where they need to, which a couple of those games are probably going to have to. I wouldn't sleep on Marquette. They're going to be hanging around for a while.
Mm.
But my winner right now, I'm just going to have to say Providence because they just look like they can't be beaten. They look like they can't be beaten. I hate Bryce Hopkins. I hate him because he's another one of like, how do you keep getting away with it? Because I don't know
what?
how
He's
can
good.
match
I'm
up
going to say it.
problems.
I'm going to say he's good.
He is. He
I'm going to
is.
say it.
And
I
was not on. I haven't been on the Bryce Hopkins train because I've seen him at least early in the year. I saw him play TCU. The guy looked like he was lost out there.
Yeah,
which I know it's TCU, but it's more of a matchup problem than I think anybody anticipated. So good, so good. Then best player, I'm going Joel Soriano for St. John's. Big man,
Yeah.
absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominant. And he's, I guess a lot of people look at Sonogo in the Big East as the dominant big man. Go pay attention to the Johnny's games because that guy is absolutely unreal. He's 2015-ish a game. I haven't looked at the exact stats, but if there's a guy, if there's a guy who can take over a game in the Big East, I want one guy. I'm taking him. So he's the best player. Biggest fraud's been tooting this horn for a while. It's Creighton. I know they're wrecked by injuries. I guess they're starting to play a little better now. So I don't think they're going to be as horrible as we saw them for that little stretch in non-conference. But, I mean, I said at the beginning of the year, I don't know why they were top 10. I don't know why they were getting top 5 hype from Mr. Rothstein. I didn't get it. And the absence of Kalkbrenner for a couple of games probably didn't help either in them catching their stride. But I'm not a fan.
He's their whole team, dude. Like, without Kalkbrenner, that team doesn't run. Like, come on.
Yeah, and I know with him back,
mono for a month. Like,
with him back, it's a little different. But I don't think they're ever going to find their stride as much as they were kind of anticipated to preseason.
I mean, yeah.
Baylor Shireman too. I'm not a fan. Not a fan whatsoever.
Yeah, he has not adjusted to a real conference very well.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I have not seen that kid make he looks like Davis Bertans playing defense.
Yeah,
you know who that is?
Exactly. Yeah, of course I know who that
Lappy and Laser.
Yeah, he's a goon, bro. He's a goon.
They actually have highlights of him, his defense, not good plays, bad plays. Davis Bertans' bad defense highlights. Look him up. Hilarious. It's just him getting his ankles broken over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, he can't play defense for anything. And if they, God forbid, teams bring Kalkbrenner out of the paint, they're just going to drive right by Shireman every time, which is the problem. Yeah. Then biggest overperformer, we know who that is. It's UConn. I don't need to explain that.
Okay. Awesome. People in chat are saying Soriano's going to break a backboard this year. He had a dunk the other night that was so hard that the scoreboard reset back to 0-0, 20 minutes on the clock first
That's
half.
Hilarious.
He dunked so hard. The hoop, first of all, is the loudest dunk I've ever heard. I don't know how the backboard didn't shatter. It looked like the Shaq dunk when he shattered the backboard. Next thing you know, the scoreboard's broken.
Yeah.
Nuts. He is awesome. But for the love of God, please don't bet on that fucking team. We'll get to that in a second, though.
Yeah, forget that team. Take Soriano squares.
Take Soriano squares, and for the love of God, don't bet on that fucking team.
Yeah.
Sleeper pick to win the conference, sleeper pick to win the Big East. I've got Butler. Look, don't let Manny Bates get hot. Talk about a guy seeing ghosts to start the season coming in. Him. But he's looking great, and he's huge. He's awesome. And they handed Kansas State their only loss this year, which I thought was very impressive too. That team looks damn near unbeatable, straight up. They are Providence 2.0 this year. And look, I know Butler went through that stretch like a week ago, 3 games in a row where they forgot how to play basketball, right? Seems like they've kind of gotten back on track a little bit relatively the last 2 games. I still believe in this Butler team, and I think it's the perfect buy low spot here, and I think they're a sleeper pick to win it. For conference winner, I've got UConn. I'm buying low on UConn after 2 losses. Jovan, I'm not giving up on this team. I still think they're extremely well coached, and Sonogo is one of the best players in the country. And shout out Jordan Hawkins from DeMatha. He's been absolutely tweaking. DC kid. He's awesome. Yep. He's awesome. UConn's still great. Don't care if they're coming off of 2 losses. Can't even count the one at Providence. Those don't count because everyone loses. That loss, literally in my eyes, does not count as a loss. I don't even count that game. If anything, I count it as a win. So UConn, they're winning this conference. The way they played the first month of the season was absolute dominance, and I think they'll get back to it in the coming weeks. I do. Best player in the conference, I cannot believe I'm saying it. I can't believe I'm saying it. Bryce Hopkins. Look, You said it perfectly, man. He looked like an idiot in the beginning of the season, but I mean, don't let Bryce Hopkins get hot. Holy fuck.
We're past that point.
He is awesome. He's here.
It's unreal.
This is the guy that everyone's gassing up, right? This motherfucker, he's third in points per game, right? We know he gets his, but he's third in rebounds per game in the conference. Third in the entire conference. He's 6'7". What? The guy has, talk about magnets in his hands. Yeah. Our guy, Bryce Hopkins. Well, not my guy. Can't stand his team, but I was wrong chirping him beginning of the season. He's here and here to stay. I think he's the best player in the conference. I do. Biggest fraud. We've already touched on this aspect. St. John's. For the love of God, guys, if you take one thing away from this show today, please, for your own mental health and happiness, do not bet on this team. I don't care how sharp, how whatever they are. I don't care if you're getting a boost on your book. I don't give a shit. You don't bet on this team. They are so poorly coached. I'll be honest, and I'm sorry, I hate chirping guys. Like, I know Mike Anderson's probably working hard and trying his best, right? He sucks. He sucks. He's not a good coach. For this team, year in and year out, to have the talent that comes in and for them to perform like this every year, to be the laughingstock of the Big East, I don't know how they keep letting him get away with it. And I don't know how he's still the coach of this program. This team every year has the talent, the athleticism, the size, and every year they flop. It's hilarious at this point. It is. And yes, they have Soriano. He is awesome. But he's a center. He can't do it all. He's not like a Keve Aluma type where he can dribble or pass a little bit. He's a fucking cement block in the paint that dunks so hard and scarily. He's awesome. But the team stinks. And I've never seen a team care less. I've never seen a team go down 7 points and act like they're down 70 points. I hate the team. They have no heart. They're a bunch of whiners, head down, mopers, and I can't stand the team or program, and I think they're the biggest joke, maybe in all these conferences we've talked about today. Sure. Can you tell I'm pissed about that loss the other night?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. And I can't blame you. I mean, they're good for 20 minutes. That's about it.
Yep.
Should get to the second.
They stink. They stink. They don't know how to close at all.
Yeah.
At all. Biggest overperformer, I've got Xavier. Somebody in chat said it earlier, Sean Miller, one of the best coaches in the country. I don't know if there's 10 coaches better than him.
Yeah, absolutely he's up there.
I don't. Look, some of his tactics, whatever, he's kind of a piece of shit. He got caught cheating, whatever, they all cheat. He pushed the boundaries. He got caught. He paid the price. Now he's back at where he started his coaching career. And wow, they're back. He's awesome. What a great signing for them. Sometimes you got to say, fuck it. Let's just bring in the best option and not care about character. Sometimes you got to do it. Sorry, I said it. He's not a murderer or anything, right? At least not as far as we know. Let Sean Miller cook. All right? I'm sure he started plenty of, donations and funds or whatever to make him seem like a better guy. He's a hell of a coach. Person aside, right? And Boehm has been fucking nuts for them. Nunji's pretty damn good too. They're second in the Big East right now. They've won 8 in a row. They're 12-3. They're undefeated in conference. This Xavier team is here to stay, and they're really fucking good. And I don't think they're going anywhere. Would not be shocked to see them run the table and win it.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
I love Xavier. I mean, Sully Boom is one of my favorite players in college basketball. He's such a dog.
He's shooting almost 50% from 3 this year.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. And then when you have a guy like that, along with the twin guys in the paint, it's insane. And Sean Miller's done a great job with that team. So it's going to be a fight at the top. I love Xavier.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I love Xavier too, and I think Sean Miller's great. They're back. Basketball's a better place when Xavier's good. Basketball's a better place when Butler's good. Basketball's a better place when the Big East is good. Sucks that Providence took so many of my coins that I can't root for them. But the Big East is awesome. I love the Big East.
It is.
Okay. Well, we just absolutely ripped through 6 conferences. How about it? Chat. Hope you guys like this. If you didn't, let me know in the comments. But we're probably going to rip through all the other conferences early on next week. On days where there's less games, right? On days like today where there's only really CBB. And we're about to dive into that too. We need our guy, Capwise Nick, to hop up here. It's about that time, brother. Let's dive through this slate. I know he's bringing winners. All right. Trying to mix in some, some basketball talk that's not, just gambling a little bit. At least a spec. All right. Yeah. I think it's good.
Well, I mean, it helps in that respect too. Because I mean, talking about targets, like Auburn and Arizona, we're talking about them fading them on the road. Maybe you're not for Arizona, but I'll be looking at that. I think TCU is set up to have some great performances despite some of the lines they're going to see. That type of stuff. It helps.
Agreed. We're getting better every day. Bigger, faster, stronger, better, smarter, and bigger and faster and stronger every day.
You said it.
Yep. Write that one down. All right, chat. We're going to bring on our guy, Nick. All right. We're going to go through these college basketball games. Okay. Let's attack. He's got the best hat on I've ever seen. Pretty sure he's wearing it yesterday. Probably hasn't come off his head, but that's okay. This is a Caps hat.
Yeah. I mean, it's only the best hat you've ever seen because you can't see the hat on your own head.
Ooh, how about it? Boom.
Yeah. Boom.
Let's go Caps.
Let's go Caps.
Yeah, I'll trade hats if you want. Although this one says VT on it, isn't it?
Oh, no, actually, just kidding. It's not a very good hat anymore.
Okay. People forget Nick went to JMU.
Yeah.
How about it?
Forget.
And Pitt, right?
And
Pitt undergrad and Pitt undergrad, JMU.
JMU undergrad, Pitt grad school.
Smart school. Cool. Oh, word. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for hopping on, Nick. I hope you brought some winners.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It's been a hot minute. It's been probably like more than a year at this point since I've been on BTL.
He's back.
But we are here.
They said it couldn't be done. They doubted. Cap Ice Nick is back. All right. So let's attack. Let's attack the slate. Plenty of games today. If you thought yesterday's CBB slate was good, take a peep at today, chat. There's some fire games. And I dropped the ball on the Fairleigh Dickinson game and St. Francis. That's on me. I probably would have told you guys to bet on St. Francis, New York, though. So probably a good thing we didn't talk about it. That one's going on right now. But we could dive into some of these real games.
Yeah.
Starting up today. Why not us?
Some real basketball. I mean, so why aren't we doing that same segment that you guys just did with the Northeast Conference?
Oh, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Next week.
It was Power Conference Day.
Power Conference today.
You don't think we're going to talk about the neck, Nick? That's the most
sleeper,
disrespectful thing I've ever
Fairleigh
heard.
Dickinson. Team that's going to make a run to tourney. St. Francis, PA. No, not
St.
really.
Francis, PA?
I mean, no.
Okay.
The whole conference is ass.
Yeah. I know. And the Mount just left, the absolute powerhouse of the conference historically.
Yeah.
Shout out the Mount. And also Bryant left. They're actually the real good team in the neck, or they were. My parents went to the Mount, so I got a soft spot for them. But they're in the MAC now. MAAC.
The MAC.
How about it? All right. I'm just going to bring up some games. And
let's do it.
Guys' thoughts on them. If you have bets, you have bets. All right. Maryland, Rutgers. Maryland's. What do you love? Go.
Rutgers.
Okay.
What
do you love?
It's Rutgers at home. How could you not love it?
Because it's square as hell.
It is. It is square as hell. Could not agree more. There's nothing more square than Rutgers.
I don't want to take the Terps though, but what do you like about Rutgers?
Well, I mean, so just look how flat Maryland came out on the road at Michigan.
They suck
in that last game. I'm not expecting anything like that. That was insane. But Maryland haven't won on the road this year. And I think that they've only won so they played at Wisconsin and at Michigan, and that's it, I guess. But they struggled away from home just in general. Lost a neutral to Tennessee, lost a neutral to no, never mind. That's it. But I'm expecting them to kind of come out flat again, like they did against Rutgers, like they did against Michigan.
Okay. I think this Maryland team just isn't that good.
Yeah, I agree.
And people in chat are saying Kevin Willard's a fraud. Completely disagree. I don't know what this guy has against Kevin Willard, but let's give the guy some time. I mean, he's taken over an absolute dumpster fire of a program that was left to him. So he'll get it going. And I think them getting off to this hot start was way more impressive and way better than anyone expected from this Terps team already. So they're playing with guys who literally transferred in from the Mount in Georgetown. What do you expect? From this team,
their best player is an inefficient scorer who transferred in from Charlotte.
Yeah,
there you go. They're not good. I will say this spread is short, so I'm definitely not betting Rutgers. But me personally, I don't want to take Maryland's. It's definitely the nasty play though, and the splits look good. Jovan, you got any thoughts on this one, man? Please tell me not to take Maryland though.
No, I'm definitely not taking Maryland. I think it's a pretty bad matchup for them because we already see how much they struggle offensively, and against Rutgers, they're going to be pretty much not full court pressured, but pretty pressured, throughout the court, which they're going to have shorter possessions to kind of figure out that offense. They're not going to get sent to the free throw line a bunch of times because Rutgers doesn't really foul all that much. They're going to struggle to score. I think it was Ollie on Twitter who was on that first half under for that game, which I do kind of like that because I think we've seen it's going to be tough for Maryland to score. We see them go through a lot of droughts. Rutgers is going to have defense in the rack. I don't expect them to be an offensive juggernaut, at least early either. So if I had to take a play, it would probably be that. Maybe a little safe lay piece for Rutgers too.
Okay. Maryland stinks. Maryland as a program is overvalued, and I think they're still overvalued, especially after that hot start. But now they're starting to play. I think they're starting to average out. I don't think they're this bad. I don't think any team is as bad as Maryland's been playing of late. Jesus.
Yeah. I think you can forgive Maryland for how kind of relatively poorly they're playing. I mean, so who have they lost?
Well, they're just not good. They're not a good team, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think they just ripped off some good wins in the beginning of the year and got hot, right? And had a good record, right? Maybe they weren't even playing good teams. They just had a good record and they got ranked, right? Not a believer in this team yet, but I do believe in Kevin Willard, and I think he will turn the program around. But look, Maryland is a nasty spot here at +5.5. I know my contrarians in chat, my nasty fade the public bettors are salivating looking at it, but even I don't know if I'm going to be taking this one, gents. Straight up, I think you just sit this one out.
Yeah, I mean, there's. I think you're playing with fire a little bit, right? Yeah. Like if you can be as contrarian as you want, but betting against Rutgers at home in the long run is just not a good move. You can stay away, but I wouldn't take Maryland.
Okay. Now, Nick, what does the model say about Queens University? Have they been spot on with Queens throughout this run?
It actually doesn't say anything about Queens. They haven't played enough games.
What? I guess you can't count D2 games because it's completely different.
Yeah. Need a little bit of a bigger sample size. Something that happens is every time teams come up, kind of just don't get scores for the.
Damn, well that stinks.
Beginning of the season. But
what's out on a cash cow though with Queens?
Yeah. So what's your read on this Queens team? Looks like they're on the road with Bellarmine today.
Yeah, they have a great coach. They have a great team. They're very athletic. They're led by a veteran point guard in Kenny Dye, who's really fucking good. And they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams I've seen, and which makes no sense because they're small. Now, it's not like they're playing up against, Purdue every week, but they're winning games. They're 11-4. Impressive. I will say the line flipping to Bellarmine's a little weird. And I think Bellarmine might win this game. Jovan, you got any thoughts on this game? I'm not fading our beloved Queens. They've brought too many coins to the program. I would never.
Yeah.
But the line flip is sketch. The splits are sketch. And Bellarmine, I don't know.
I think Bellarmine's kind of mid.
They're mid, yeah. But I'd say it's a bad matchup for Queens, which is probably why the line is what it is and not why it flipped. Because, you talked about the offensive rebounds. One of the reasons they get that is because of the tempo that they play with and because of the teams that they play. Who's going to slow them down and who is probably – I think they allow top 20 in offensive rebounds allowed as a defense, Bellarmine. So I don't know if they're going to see that same level of success today against a mid-Bellarmine team, but probably a bigger and better rebounding team. So I'll stay away. But if I had to, I'd fade the boys.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. And it's not like Queens has been getting disrespected by the lines. They definitely were, the first, 8 or 10 games. But, I feel like the second half of how far we've been so far in this season, I think the books have kind of they've adjusted and gotten hip to Queens and know that they're good. So Bellarmine being the favorite here makes no fucking sense, especially with it being a bad matchup. Not fading Queens, but weird. Let's talk about a real game. Let's talk about Purdue and Ohio State. I want your guys' thoughts. Now, I woke up and I don't think I've seen more mentions about a play on my Twitter ever than Ohio State today. I woke up with 700 people saying, "This is your POD today, huh?" I'm scared. I might end up not even betting at this point. Straight up.
Are you scared because of how obvious of a Krabs play it is?
I'm scared because people. Yes. I'm scared because of that. I'm scared because everyone sees it, right? This is like the easiest sharp bet of the day, right? It's the fucking Ohio State against the best team in the country is a favorite, right? It might be too damn sharp, is what I'm worried about, straight up. It might be so sharp that it's square. But Ohio State's been cracked out, and it looks like teams found a way to kind of beat Purdue with just absolutely swarming Edey and making them beat them from the outside. Ohio State could do that again today with Zed Key. And everyone keeps acting like Zed Key's 7'8" on Twitter today too, which is bad. So I want your guys' thoughts. And Nick, what are you thinking about this, man? I mean, people in chat are saying the line's not weird, that this is a matchup thing, and that Ohio State is a great matchup for Purdue.
Yeah, so I think BetBeast made an excellent point, right? It's kind of not even a weird line. If you look at just the rankings, right? Number 1 against number 24, number 24 is favored. Yep. That's weird. But looking at something like KenPom, right?
Yep.
They're only separated by 4 spots.
Okay.
So the home team should be a 2-point favorite in that situation. So from that perspective, the line is kind of exactly where it should be.
Yeah. The public perception, it's definitely weird because they're not looking up KenPom. But yes, I 1000% agree. And I recommend to chat, you should be looking at KenPom for rankings instead of just looking at the AP poll. I mean, people forget the AP poll had Mississippi Valley State and Grambling up for receiving votes. You're going to trust them over KenPom? I'm not. But to the public eye who doesn't want to do any work or any research, Purdue looks free here. And that's why I want to take Ohio State. Ohio State's been playing great ball, and Purdue's coming off a loss. So this one's a head scratcher for me, boys. Jovan, what do you think, bro?
It's tough because I hate that everybody's acting like Zed Key is going to be just the ultimate stopper for Zach Edey.
They're acting like he's twice the size of Zach Edey.
Yeah, I mean, he might be a little more physical. I mean, sure, but the dude's got, 4 or 5 inches on him, and Zed Key is like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't see where the matchup issue is. It's certainly one of the bigger or better bigs that Zach Edey's faced, which is certainly saying something this year, but I don't see him being able to stop him. And if it's not Zed Key, they're going to go to that. I don't even know the name of that freshman, the big freshman who has a little more size, but he's a freshman. He's super young. He's not exactly Zed Key type physical.
Sensible?
Maybe.
Bryce Sensible? I mean, he's their best player, 16 points a game, freshman, the forward from Orlando. Unless you're not thinking of Justice Suing
talking about Akpara.
Yeah.
He's going to be a rotational guy if they need him to be in there. So
he's huge, actually. He's 6'11", yeah.
Yeah, he's big. He's got the size. He's just not as polished as a defender. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think when you talk about the matchups, I guess everybody's right in the fact that if they could somehow force, the Purdue guards to have to be the ones to beat them, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. But that's also might be the thing that makes it a little more overly obvious than, it looks on first glance. So it's scary.
Yeah. I don't know why Ohio State's not playing Tanner Holden more, to be honest with you guys. I mean, whatever they're doing right now is working, right? But I thought this kid was about to be an absolute dog coming over from Wright State, and he's only getting like 20 minutes a game-ish, less. He's only getting like 13 minutes per game in his last couple. He put up 8 points in the last one. He made the most of it, but I think you got to get him in the game more.
Yeah, it's interesting, all these mid-major transfers going in. You got a guy like Holden who averaged 20 points a game last year, barely playing. Look at like Isaiah Mosley, transfers up, barely playing. And then like other guys will, even on the same teams.
Yep.
Just be absolutely phenomenal.
Yep.
So my take on this Ohio State Purdue game, I think it's really, really, really tight. I have a very, 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 very slight lean towards Purdue, but I kind of just can't bet against I can't bet on a road team in Big Ten play. It seems like every single year. I mean, maybe that Rutgers Purdue game is a big exception, but home teams in the Big Ten just perform so well. And in what should be a really close game, I do kind of think that might be the difference. So I have Purdue by less than a point.
Shit.
Certainly not enough for me to actually take them in this spot. So I think this is going to be a great basketball game, but maybe not a game that you want to actually put some coin on. It's kind of my take.
I think you wait. If you're watching the game, you get a live line over 4, maybe 5. You take it for the dog. I think it's a 1 possession game, maybe a couple free throws at the end. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the exact correct way to bet this. If you can get +5 in either direction live,
okay,
probably hits.
Maybe that is the play. Maybe I try that and be patient for once. It's hard. It's hard. It is. It is. Okay, let's keep rolling. Nick, you taking JMU today or no?
I actually don't think so. I'm not advocating taking Texas State.
Yeah.
But I think that line is
it's moving towards
a lot
Texas State too.
Yeah, and it's
Weird.
a lot of points, right? So I mean, Texas State, looking at the record, it doesn't look pretty. Looking at KenPom, it's not pretty, but they're not I don't think that they're a very bad team. And I think that this JMU team kind of peaked a little bit earlier in the season.
I mean, they were putting up like 80 points a game, 90 points a game. It was crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah, their shooting was nuts, dude.
Yeah, they're not shooting like that anymore. I mean, teams have the scouting report or whatever it is, but they're just not putting up 80, 90 points a game. They're not blowing teams out. It was
unsustainable a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
They were playing out their ass. Yeah.
And I think that 12 is a lot of points here.
Yeah. It is. Too many.
I honestly, like, I'm not going to bet against my team, but I would definitely lean with Texas State here.
Okay. Jovan, you think 20 points is too many points that they're giving SMU against Houston?
I don't know thinking about this game, but that seems like a lot for a team.
That is a huge spread.
Yeah, for one that's as offensively inept as Houston has been at times. And it's not to say SMU hasn't been the same, because they really have Zurich Phelps and I forget the other guy's name. It always slips me, but really just two guys, the two-man show for them. And if they're not hitting every single bucket, they're scoring 50 points. That's just been how SMU's been. I know their offense was decent in that little tournament where they won a couple games, but they're really just not that good. And against the Houston defense that's going to shut them down, they're not going to score much. And I know they've been better recently, which if they're showing this big of a line, 20.5 points, it's probably for a reason. And yeah. Exactly.
This is going to be the easy thought process here, King Dre. Dig into it a little bit more, brother. I don't know why the heck Houston's laying 20.5 against an SMU team that, look, they're not good, but they're talented. They have a lot of talent on that team. I think this is a terrible matchup for a team like SMU that does not play that sharp. I guess that'd be the way to say it. I feel like they're turnover prone, and I feel like they're just not consistent and not a team I want my coins on. They're like a St. John's kind of.
I agree.
And against a disciplined defense first team like Houston that already has a loss this year, a team that puts in maximum effort, a team that's well coached, a team that's home, this is such a fat spread. Holy smokes. And it tells me Houston wins this game by 40 and SMU might only put up 40 points. Seriously.
That's what I'm thinking. I know it's Houston's defense, but you got a team total sitting at 54.5 with the way that SMU's been scoring the ball lately. 92 in their last game. We got a little 57 against Hawaii.
Crazy.
Then they go 77, 85, 75. Like,
that is crazy, dude.
Houston tax for sure, but it's not like it's not like it's a 20.5 spread and the total's like 140. It's still touching 130 and might go further down. So like they ain't scoring today.
They ain't scoring.
No.
Okay. Nick, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I'd just be worried about a backdoor cover, right? I mean, Houston goes up 25, 30 points, and then SMU
this could be a little first half
drains a couple of threes late.
Could this be first half cheese?
Could be first half cheese. I mean, wasn't Houston first half like a?
They're really good. That's why I don't like
at one point.
Yeah, I don't like that, but yeah, they were over the last couple of years. They have been. I don't know about this year, to be honest with you, but I remember seeing that trend on Twitter all the time.
Everywhere last year.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about my favorite bet of the day. Iowa against Indiana's. Guys, why is Iowa laying 1.5 against a ranked Indiana team after 3 losses to Penn State, Nebraska, and Eastern Illinois? Sorry, when they were like minus 30 in that game. I think it was
a safe lay piece.
Biggest upset ever. People were talking about it. Why is Iowa laying minus 1.5 here against that ranked Indiana team? Iowa has 7 scholarship players playing tonight. McCaffrey, the heart and soul of the team, the leader, the veteran, just stepped away from the team for mental health reasons. I hope he's okay. I hope he figures it out. How the heck do they get this done? And why the heck are they a favorite? Well, here's some things I'm thinking of. Iowa doesn't turn the ball over at all. You got to beat them by putting the ball in the hoop. Top 10 turnover team in the country. They don't turn the ball over. All right. And they out-rebound, especially offensively. So extra possessions for Iowa tonight. And Chris Murray's coming off a 32-piece, which helps. He's locked in offensively. He's going to have to carry. He is. And the splits are fire, too, for this game. Don't know why Iowa's the favorite. The only thing I don't like is that Trace Jackson Davis was sent that weird-ass letter the other day from a crazy-ass fan saying that they're like the softest team ever and they need to step up and Trace is a terrible leader and shit like that. I hate having to fade that and fade that team after that shit because I think you're going to get maximum effort from Indiana the whole game, which you really don't. That letter had some true points in it, although that guy's a psycho and should never, ever, ever do that. Ever. Iowa's winning this game. This is probably going to be my POD. Jovan, thoughts?
I'm with it. I mean, this is the one of those two that makes easily the least sense because you're talking about, like you said, a team who has what is it, 7 scholarship players now?
And McCaffrey just walked away from the team. He's the heart and soul. He's everything.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also, on the other side, the one kind of phrasing that I've seen all day and people talking about Indiana is that they're well rested because they haven't played since before Christmas. Their last game was December 23rd. So it's super. I mean, that's a pretty confusing part, especially when you talk about a team who isn't a big shooting team. They can't really shoot. So against an Iowa team who that's how you're going to beat them. Maybe they're a little even further out of the rhythm. I don't know how much it's going to be because there is a 152.5 total, but it makes no sense whatsoever. So I'll be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, is Indiana well rested or are they going to be rusty?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So some other things. Trace Jackson Davis is questionable.
Yeah, what's good with that
in this game? And Xavier Johnson, of course, is still out.
Yeah.
So it's not like Indiana.
What's good with Trace though? Because I did some research on that. I heard that earlier, and I couldn't find shit.
I'm seeing undisclosed.
Yeah, so it's got to have to do with him posting that letter.
Maybe I don't know. And it's hard with college, right? Like there's no standards with injury reporting, so it is kind of just up in the air.
Damn, well that stinks. So Vegas probably knows that this line's 1.5, or Vegas probably knows that he's not playing, and that's why this line's at 1.5. It'll make a lot more sense before tip. That stinks. Yeah,
perhaps
that stinks.
And the other thing also, like it's a Big Ten team at home. There's another line. Like I kind of actually disagree that this is a super sketchy line. Like the only home win or the only road win that Indiana has this year is at Xavier, which is a good win, but they lost at Rutgers, lost at Kansas. So they've only gone on the road and won once.
Yeah, they're not a good road team, but they're a ranked team and they're a dog against an Iowa team that has nothing.
Yeah, I mean Eastern Illinois went into Iowa, so it's not like anybody.
Yeah,
can do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Eastern Illinois wagons.
Yeah, what the fuck? Almost double digits, right?
Can someone check? Can anyone, Nick? Can you do a Google search and see if they won their next game? Eastern Illinois. Yeah. I bet they didn't. I bet they didn't even cover that
after the Iowa game. They beat Lindenwood.
Oh,
by
new
one.
D1 team.
Did
they cover that?
No, they didn't cover.
See, that was the lock of the century. Damn it.
And they beat Southern Indiana in the next game as 5-point dogs. Won that one by 11. They put up 91.
Screaming Eagles. Take that. People are saying wrong McCaffrey. I'm confused. All right. Well, I want to talk about this USC UCLA game before we get into the squad ride. Nick, you got any thoughts in this one, man?
Man, it's what's the line at right now?
I mean, it absolutely cooked overnight. I'll tell you that much. It's 11-ish.
Yeah, it looks like it opened at like 14. Yeah, I mean that's sketchy. So I think 14 is kind of right where it should have been. I have the game at basically 14. I don't know what to make of this USC team. I mean, they're kind of like, I don't know, like they're not like St. John's, but they're a team that just doesn't put together 40 minutes of good basketball. They just seem allergic to that. It is very sketchy that the line has dropped 3 points though.
Yeah. Agreed. with how well UCLA has been playing.
Yeah.
Weird. I lean USC, but they probably lose by 12. Right? They'll probably lose. That middle will get fucked, and they'll probably lose by 12. Right? Okay, Jovan, are you taking UCLA? You were gassing them up earlier.
No, I mean, I think the line being there in the first place, kind of long term, tells you what Vegas thinks of UCLA. But I feel like this is a game that probably ends up in the middle of that move somewhere. So I'm not going to take anything here.
Yeah, I think if you want USC, you're too late.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I agree. Okay, I want to get some options out for the squad ride, and while people vote, we can continue to talk about some of these later games like Gonzaga and the Washington game. But Nick, what is your favorite play today? You give us a little sell job on your favorite play. You got a minute or two sell job on this?
I think that my favorite play is something that we've actually already talked about.
Okay.
And I like Rutgers a lot today.
Okay.
I know you're not going to like that.
Well, I don't hate it.
But
Maryland sucks, man. I don't hate it.
Maryland's bad, and it's Rutgers at home. Rutgers coming off a big win, but coming back home, I don't think it's a letdown spot. I think the rack is going to be going crazy, and I don't think Maryland can put together 40 minutes of basketball to keep it a 1 or 2 possession game.
Yeah, I wonder if the students are back on campus yet, because I doubt they're coming back for a basketball game. But who knows? It is the rack. That place does get fucking nuts.
Yeah, so I would guess that students are back. We're kind of getting to that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they're probably all relatively local, anyways.
That is true.
There'll be some people in Jersey.
UMD is out for another 3 weeks. Yeah, UMD is weird though. They're always late. I remember that from my buddies. But okay, Rutgers -5.5 against fraudulent UMD.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't think I'm going to play it personally, but I don't hate it one bit. I'm definitely not betting on the Terps, man. I can't, even though it is so gross. So gross.
I guess we can also, I'll Google real quick while you guys tell your favorite plays when Rutgers goes back.
Sure. Good.
Yeah.
Good work. Jovan, what's your favorite play today, bro?
Probably would have to be in college basketball, at least Iowa. I would feel like we're pretty set on that. Not going to talk about it anymore, but
what do we do? Because I'm starting to think that Trace isn't going to play, and that's why the line's here.
Yeah, we'll worry about that. So maybe
we don't put that in. God damn it. What are some plays that we love that we know we're probably going to be betting today?
It's a great question.
I'll tell you one. It's San Francisco tonight +9.5 against Gonzaga. System play. That line reeks. With how bad San Fran's looked of late and how good Timmy has looked of late. I don't know if you checked his stats recently, but he's been the best player in the country over his last 7 games. Not really sure why San Francisco is getting this much respect, coming off at a loss at home when they were -10.5 to San Diego and they lost by 12. I don't get the spread. Maybe San Francisco is getting more respect against Gonzaga like they almost always do, I feel like. I'm always trying to bet San Francisco against Gonzaga the last couple of years. And it never really works out. Gonzaga literally owns them. Maybe this is the year San Fran gets it done. And I think they're going to shoot the living shit out of the ball. And Gonzaga's defense around the basket has not been great anyways. So second chance opportunities for San Francisco as well. That's probably my favorite play of the day right now, besides Iowa.
What are we talking about on the splits in that game? They look fine.
What, people in chat are bitching?
Yeah, they're saying they're a public dog. I see 25% of the money and 35%, or 25% of the bets, 37% of the money. What are we
tripping?
Talking about?
Hey, you can't be right every time. That's okay. But they're definitely wrong in chat, so be quiet.
What are we, I'm confused.
Definitely wrong. But I want to put San Fran in. I do. But I want one of your guys' blessings at least.
Yeah, I mean, I can get down with
that. I'm pretty indifferent on that game.
Okay, good. Well, let's put that in. Let's put Rutgers -5.5 in. We'll put San Francisco +9.5 in. Jovan, what else should we put in, brother? What are you thinking?
It's a great question. Looking at some of these.
We could take Houston. We could take Ohio State. Trust. Any NBA or NHL?
I mean, there's NHL that I like a little bit.
What do you like?
feel like I should talk about it a little bit because I get 15,000 DMs a day about the +1.5 stuff because I don't really talk about it if it's games that I don't particularly like, but I do play them.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a couple, like the Ducks last night, didn't really care for that, but I had to play it. Of course, it cashes. There's a couple that are in it today. The Kraken are one of them against the Leafs, which is a scary one because I think that's a rather large price for the Leafs, but
damn.
Yeah, I mean, they can't really hide their goaltending anymore because Matt Murray has been really good, but their defense it's gotten worse and worse over the last couple games. So Kraken with Martin Jones in net, not much better. It's just they're gonna have to find a way. It's probably my favorite one of the 1.5. So just to let the chat know, the ones that fall into it as of right now are the Kraken +1.5, the Blue Jackets +1.5, which I absolutely hate. They're in it like every time, but it is what it is. And I think Preds are kind of out of it now at +1.5, but I'll be keeping my eye on that for a little bit because it's floating around. But main two,
damn,
Kraken and Jackets.
Well, respectfully, I hate all those bets, but they probably will hit because they do historically. So what do you want to do? I'll leave this up to you.
I like the Kraken. I'll put the Kraken +1.5 in there.
Oh, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing. I think it's that gross,
Yeah. I like that Pens bet from Pat too. I don't like that at all.
Okay. All right. Should we roll with these 3 plays? Rutgers, San Fran, and Seattle's?
I'm down.
Just call it a day. I mean, we were running out of time here anyway, so we can go ahead and fire that up, Josh. We got Rutgers -5.5. We got San Fran +9.5, and we got Seattle +1.5 on the ice. I almost just puked.
So
disgusting.
So what is this 1.5 system?
So since Thanksgiving, at least, I've been tracking when an NHL favorite is between -200 and -240, taking the +1.5 on the underdog, and let's have the updated record. It is 33-12 since Thanksgiving.
Sheesh, bro.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
make some coin on that.
Yeah, which I mean, a lot of the times when you're getting teams on like the low end of that -200, it's a little juicy, like -155 ish, but it is what it is. Pays.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Lieutenant last night with the Ducks, which played, but I absolutely hated it. Came through.
Sure. Billy the Kid, Purdue is definitely not. Ohio State's not a POD, no, because we're gonna sit back and watch that line a little bit.
Yeah,
because it might be the fake sharp play the Eon, is what it's looking like. Guys, the poll is up. Go vote. I voted for San Fran. They're out to an early lead. Cap-wise, Knicks play of the day. Rutgers is in a close second. No, I don't think anybody wants to bet on the Kraken today, Jovan. I apologize.
That's the way I want it.
No passionate Kraken bettors.
It's exactly the way we want it.
Xander, I think what did we say in the tweet, Xander? We said $100 and some merch, I think, for the college football bowl pick'em.
Yeah.
So yeah, Xander,
one of last 13. Interesting.
Damn.
There's a couple lines that are like in the NHL, they're like sitting at the 155 ish on favorites. That I think I might take both the favorites. Which is gross. Which one of them is the Avs, one of them is the Bruins.
Oof.
They've been struggling. I don't often bet on better teams, both of them or multiple of them, but Avs lost four in a row, I think it was, and they're laying -155 on the road against the Canucks, who have been playing decently. I think they'll do that. Kind of same thing with the Bruins, except they've lost a couple, I think, in the last 4 or 5, and the Kings have been absolutely hot. So that's the reason the line is short. I think I might go against that one, especially with the Kings coming off that big home win against the Stars 2 days ago, which I was on. But those are 2 I'm not getting cute with the underdog for sure.
Okay. Jovan on the ice. Sharp as attack.
Love it.
Sharp as attack. 100K channel points. Let's fucking go.
Huge.
Let's fucking go. That's lit. But yeah, it looks like San Francisco +9.5 against the Zags tonight is the squad ride. Let's stay hot. Okay. Let's keep hitting bets. Let's keep hitting PODs. I really hope that Trace Jackson Davis plays, and I really hope that line stays as Iowa is a favorite. If it does, it'll be a POD from the kid. If not, might just be rolling with San Fran. TBD if that'll be a POD. So stay posted. Okay. Need to watch these lines like a goddamn hawk.
Yeah.
All right. Jovan, appreciate it as always, my man. Let's fucking smack some bets tonight. Nick, thanks for hopping on here, my dudes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always coming on here with some wisdom. Appreciate it. And hey, don't let the Caps get hot. Might be too late. They play tonight. I might be going tomorrow, so we can all respectfully hammer the Predators tomorrow when they come into DC.
Yeah.
Still haven't been to a game where the Caps won.
Excited. I'm gonna be at the they're out in Colorado later this month. I'm going to that one.
Ooh, it's huge.
You got to get some good seats for that, bro.
We have good seats. Ben and I are going.
Good. Awesome. Well, appreciate you guys. Chat. Let's hit some fucking bets today. Why not us? Okay. We'll be seeing squad.
We'll be seeing.
Peace.